the possibility of misattribution should not stop us to put our work out there into the world. So the message is, do it anyway.
Unlock possibilities by changing your mindset. You will expand what's possible for you, for the ones around you, for the world. You're moving into a land of both blind spots and learning, of things and ideas. You just crossed over into the mindset zone. Join your guide, Anna Melikian, founder of Solo Biz Academy, the director of education for Book Yourself Solid, and a PhD in psychology.
The show you are about to listen is backed by popular demand from the Mindset Zone archive vault. To get all new episodes, make sure you subscribe via your favorite podcast app and visit mindset.zone. Yes, instead of .com, it's .zone. There you can find the episode archive, show notes, and other amazing resources, including how to 4 times your success so you can work smarter, not harder, and learn how to leverage your talents to make a bigger impact while enjoying the process. All at mindset.zone. Hi, Anna Melikian here. So, today I want to focus on this topic that I call misattributions. That really are situations where we attribute an idea to a wrong source. So there is a mix-up of some kind. And I decided to do this episode when I was listening recently to the news, and they were speaking about a beautiful new US stamp that was produced in homage to the life and work of Maya Angelou. It is really wonderful and for me very meaningful to see a poet, a thinker recognized this way. We can put her stamp and look to that and remember all the beautiful things that she wrote and all the inspiration that she brought to us. Yet, the quote that they chose to go along with her photo of Maya Angelou is not her quote. That was the news. They misattribute the quote. So we have this beautiful stamp with a photo of Maya Angelou and with a picture of Maya Angelou and this beautiful quote, "A bird doesn't sing because it has an answer. It sings because it has a song." The only problem is that she didn't wrote this quote, because this is really an inspiring and beautiful phrase that was often cited by Maya Angelou. Yet we know now that it was written by another writer, Joan Walsh Anglund, in 1967. So we have to be fair, Maya Angelou used this quote many times. She never claimed that she was the author of this quotation. She used it like probably was the main reason that they pick it, because it's really a powerful sentence. But the USA Post Office should have done a little bit of homework and check at least in which publication that quote had been printed before, in which of the works of Maya Angelou she had written that. And maybe they find out that she was not the author of that quote. And not waited until the stamp was published to discover that mistake. But at least now we know about another inspiring woman, writer, Joan Walsh Anglund, who now has a Wikipedia entry thanks to this misattribution. So if you Google her name, and I will put it in the show notes of this episode, the link to the Wikipedia entry, I think was done very recently because of all her name being in the news and she being recognized as the author of this beautiful quote, an inspiring quote. So, and I will put more links there and more information about this writer. Another example of a misattribution with a very happy ending is about this beautiful poem that I'm going to read now. And then I will explain what is the misattribution and the happy ending about. So, and probably you heard this there are many forms going on in the web of these commandments and inspiration. People are illogical, unreasonable, and self-centered. Love them anyway. If you do good, people will accuse you of selfish, ulterior motives. Do good anyway. If you are successful, you win false friends and true enemies. Succeed anyway. Honesty and frankness make you vulnerable. Be honest and frank anyway. The biggest men and women with the biggest ideas can be shot down by the smallest men and women with the smallest minds. Think big anyway. People favor underdogs, but follow only top dogs. Fight for a few underdogs anyway. What you spend years building may be destroyed overnight. Build anyway. People really need help, but may attack you if you do help them. Help people anyway. Give the world the best you have and you will get kicked in the teeth. Give the world the best you have anyway. This is a very powerful quote and usually is named Anyway quote and is often attributed to Mother Teresa because a version of this poem was written on the wall in Mother Teresa's home for children in Calcutta. Yet this is a misattribution, and now we know that, because these are called the paradoxical commandments. They are 10, and they were originally written by Kent M. Keith in 1968 as part of a booklet for student leaders. The interesting thing and the happy ending of this is that because of this misattribution, because this quote was so often attributed to Mother Teresa, and when Kent Keith learned about this, he was inspired to publish this again, and he published it in a beautiful book called Do It Anyway, the Handbook for Finding Personal Meaning and Deep Happiness in a Crazy World. And I want to play here the track of an interview, this was in the 2000s, where the author speaks about this.
Hello, Kent Keith. How are you?
Good morning. It's good to be here.
This is such an interesting story. 34 years ago, as a student at Harvard, 19 years old,
right,
you wrote these 10 paradoxical commandments, right? What motivated you to write them in the first place?
You know, the 60s were a real challenging time. I mean, it was a turbulent time, a lot of hope and idealism, a lot of passion, a lot of conflict and confrontation. And you know, I really wanted to encourage student leaders in those days to just go out and do what they thought was right and good and true, and really love people and care about them and stay with it, and not worry about whether they got rewarded or appreciated or achieved change overnight. Basically, if they found the meaning, they didn't have to have the glory.
But it wasn't sort of do unto others. It was paradoxical. In other words, it was, you know, they're commandments with a bit of a wink, don't you think?
That's right. I mean, it's about, giving the world your best, even though the world may be doing its worst to you. I mean, things may not work, you may not be successful in the way you hope, but you still need to do what's right and good and true.
Over the last several decades, Ken, as I mentioned, people have quoted you ad nauseum. I mean, people from world leaders in Zimbabwe to ministers or clergymen in Milwaukee to Mother Teresa. I mean, it's just been unbelievable. How did all your commandments get out to the rest of the world?
Well, actually, they were in the first book that I wrote for student leaders back in 1968, just on one page, and people liked them, and they started sharing them, and they started traveling. And the funny thing is, I didn't know. I was just going on about my life, and I didn't know that they were traveling all over and being attributed to all kinds of people.
Finally, you heard someone at a Rotary meeting in Honolulu, right?
That's right.
Quote you and actually give Mother Teresa credit.
That's right. And that really changed my life, because when I found out that it was on the wall of her children's home in Calcutta, that's when I decided to write a book about them.
And you can go to the show notes of this episode at mindset.zone/30, and you will find there the full video that I play here a segment of, and it's a 4-minute video. It's a really nice watch. So, what's the moral of the story here? Okay, yes, before publishing, writers should do their homework and check their sources. Totally agree with that. Yet, I know as a podcaster here that sometimes we are pressured with time, and even in this podcast, I already illustrate several times that it's easy to make mistakes and misattributions too. And my thinking is that when the misattributions are corrected, when our mistakes, we have the opportunity to to come back and say, hey, maybe we should do this in a different way, or maybe I was not so precise before. And this really can be a beautiful opportunity to learn more. So like I said in the examples here, the stamp was in the news a lot because of the controversy that the quote was not really of Maya Angelou. And now we know about another wonderful writer. So I think that is a good thing. And in the case of the do it anyway commandments, I was thanks to all these misattributions and being so popular that the author Ken Keith came forward and published another book. So my thinking is that when misattributions are corrected, that can be a good thing. We will make mistakes. That is part of life. We attribute ideas to the wrong sources. That sometimes happens. And hopefully someone will catch them and call our attention to them. And we are able to correct them. The possibility of misattribution should not stop us to put our work out there into the world. So the message is do it anyway. So if you find any misattributions in my podcast episodes, any things that need corrections, please contact me. My email is anna@mindset.zone. I always love to learn new things. And you can go to the show notes of this episode at mindset.zone/30. Like, I love to hear your comments, learn from your experience, your own misattributions. And if you want a weekly mindset workout, make sure you are subscribed to this podcast via iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, or if it's easier for you, you can listen to it directly from my website. Just go to mindset.zone/info and you will find there a player for this podcast with all the episodes. You click on the track, go to the show notes. It's really nice. And to give you an extra incentive to visit my website, you can go to mindset.zone/free stuff and you will find different resources there. And I love to provide loads of free stuff there too. Also, remember that this episode is brought to you by audible.com. You can get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at mindset.zone/audiobooks. And if you love podcasts, you are going to love audible.com. Grateful that you cross over into the mindset zone. Expand what's possible for you, for the ones around you, for the world. Thank you for listening. And remember to visit mindset.zone. Yes, instead of .com is .zone. There you can find all the episodes and other amazing resources. As always, I'm so grateful that you have crossed over into the mindset zone. Expand what's possible for you, for the ones around you, for the world.